You know, we are running out of things to debunk when it comes to young Earth creationism. So far, every bit of evidence they've pulled out of their asses has truly been pulled out of their ass. It's shitty, a complete waste, and it all stinks. So the Monday Night Young Earth takedown started when the channel first came out. I wanted to do an episode on young Earth creationism because, frankly, it was absurd. And over the past several months, we've shown how absurd it really is, thanks to people like Hovind and several other lesser knowledgeable individuals. Not saying much, I know. I think the only thing we haven't gone over is Kent's genealogy bit, but that's not even remotely scientific. It's all just random numbers someone pulled out of their asses and said this was factual, then stuck it in the Bible thousands of years ago. Every week, it is getting harder and harder to find a good video or a decent topic to even hit on. We may have to close the doors on the Monday Night Young Earth takedown and start a new series for Mondays. If you have any ideas, please put them in the comments down below. For now, we do have Kent again saying something stupid. Par for the course, I know, but let's get on with it.
Tonight we'll be in Psalm chapter 19, dead center in the Bible, book of Psalms. We should only cover one verse, I think, if I hurry. We're going to try. Listen to me, atheists. The stars are not billions of years old. They do not prove the universe is billions of years old. We're going to talk about that tonight.
One verse. All this over one verse.
Really?
Okay, I've read Psalms 19, and using the King James, the only verse that references a star is verse 4, which mentions a tabernacle for the sun. It mentions nothing about the Genesis creation myth at all. I really hope he goes over the entire chapter, but let's allow Kent the Dent a bit of room to hang himself.
Psalm chapter 19. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Two things. David said this shows how amazing God is. The heavens and the firmament. Well, the firmament is the place where the birds fly. You see that in Genesis chapter 1, so that would be the atmosphere. The original earth had a firmament above it with air for the birds to fly in, but it was compressed air because there was water above the firmament, probably in the form of ice.
There he is with his ice dome silliness again. All the verse really says is, sky is pretty. God made sky. Sky is pretty. Yeah. But with Kent talking about the firmament so much, I really think he's about 2 inches away from a flat earther. If you ask me personally, I really think he is a flat earther, but doesn't want to admit to the stigma of it all.
So what about these stars?
I'm not sure we've talked about stars yet. We talked about the sky so far.
Do the heavens declare the glory of God? Well, see, the first mention of stars is in Genesis chapter 1.
Now that's a stretch even for you, Kent, but I guess in dumb Kent logic, you can go from sky is pretty to stars are in sky, so stars are pretty.
God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also.
You see, people back then didn't know very much about what is going on up in the sky, and this is just proof of it. The moon isn't a light, it reflects light, but the Bible says the moon is a light. So, a biblical literalist like Ken would have to think the moon gives off its own light. See, I told you Kent's just a few inches away from a flat earther. We'll skip over his bit of rambling and jumping around a bit. It's not conducive to the topic at hand here.
Astronomers estimate the universe could contain up to 1 septillion stars. You got million, billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion, sextillion, septillion. So it'll have 7 sets of zeros after the 1,000. That's 24 zeros, okay? That's a lot, big number. Our Milky Way alone contains more than 100 billion stars, including our most well-studied star, the Sun.
What did you say?
Yeah, 1 septillion? Fuck me running, is that right?
Well, let me just say you're correct.
Yeah, I see it. Google says 200 sextillion, but NASA makes a new claim of 1 septillion, so he's not wrong.
What? They say insane shit all the time. How was I supposed to know this one was true?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I just hope that by the end of this, it isn't just a case of 'cause my Bible said so.
People have spent a lot of time looking at and wondering about the stars. The study of the stars should make us marvel at the incredible power, wisdom, and majesty of God, and make us fall down and worship Him.
When I look up at the stars, I look at the beauty of it all and how big the universe actually is. But none of this is talking about the age of the universe and how he thinks the stars can't be billions of years old. If he's going for a suspense, he's doing a pretty good job of it, but we want the end result here.
God created huge, amazing animals that Adam and Eve could marvel at.
Oh my stars, we don't care! Can we please just get back to the young Earth thing instead of the intellectual masturbation that he's not even good at? He goes off on a tangent saying Satan is deceiving everyone and dinosaurs were on the ark and blah blah blah. We're here for the stars' claim.
In like manner, Satan has been using God's own creation, the stars, to turn millions of people away from worshiping God.
Thank you for fast-forwarding, Angel. I can't take much from Kent anymore. When it comes to him, I just need him to just get to the point and get it over with, because otherwise, I'm going to die of a brain aneurysm.
I Googled, do stars prove the universe is billions of years old? They said, yep, the age of the universe is the topic of ongoing research and refinement. While there are various methods to estimate the universe's age, stars play a crucial role in this determination. Here's a summary of the findings. The oldest stars, 12 to 13.8 billion years. How on earth do they know that?
Oh, yay! Something to talk about. First and foremost, probably the most obvious is spectroscopy, the study of light that is emitted from an object. When it comes to stars, the light is observed from the star. Different elements can be taken from the light pattern, since each element will absorb a specific wavelength of light. So even if a star is redshifted from moving away from us, we can adjust the spectrum to the gaps in the total wavelength of light to see what elements are in the star and what it is fusing in the core. The detection of certain elements aid us in determining the likely age of that star. For example, if the light spectrum shows the presence of, say, lithium, we know the star is very young, because the lithium would run out quickly. If we start to see some heavier elements, we know the star is then older. But there are many, many different ways to detect and determine the age of a star. This is just one example, and we can use our own star as a sort of baseline to understand and see what other stars are made of. The Sun is about 70% hydrogen and 28% helium, with the remaining 2% of heavier elements. So yes, the spectroscopy of stars point to a very long ages for a lot of them.
Does the star have a birth certificate or something? I mean, what are they looking at?
Well, I suppose you could look at it that way, Kent, but yes, that's what we're looking at.
Hubble's law. Another approach involves Hubble's law, which describes the expansion of the universe, combining it with the age of the oldest stars. This method yields an age of 13.8 billion years, consistent with the oldest star's age. So yes, stars are one of the key components in the evolutionist religion that the universe is billions of years old.
Yeah, that's about right. So, consistent data from various sources that corroborate with each other to a single conclusion, and he just read it nodding his head. As a little bit of a pet peeve, science isn't a religion. I know we keep saying it, but doing actual science requires gaining evidence for the claims from all angles, even if the evidence you find goes against your idea. Religions like Christian Baptist makes claims and then searches for evidence to support that claim while ignoring any evidence contrary to that claim. Science is perfectly content with admitting when it's wrong. Religion isn't. Anyway, Kent just brought up the evidence for old stars. Does that mean we're done here?
No, you don't get to end this.
Okay, fine. Let's just keep going, see what else he has to say.
Astronomers estimate the age of the universe two ways: by looking at the oldest stars, there goes again, and by measuring the rate of expansion of the universe and extrapolating back to the Big Bang. Just as a crime detective can trace the origin of a bullet from the holes in a wall. That's a poor analogy, okay?
Actually, it's a perfect analogy because it shoots Kent's hypothesis in the foot. Thing is, we can use science and math to wind back the clocks using those methods, so it's really perfectly valid. And with the bullet in the wall, we can see the trajectory of where the bullet could have come from and get evidence of where the shooter stood. So, in an investigation, we can then get an idea of who the shooter was by other trace evidence at the crime scene. Kent tends to have neither the bullet nor the evidence. He tosses mud around the room, steps in the evidence, and then says the mud is brand new, so the crime happened a few minutes ago. Sure.
NASA, or National Center for Science Miseducation at Berkeley University.
Kent, are you changing the name of Dinosaur Adventureland? Because you are this nation's center for pseudoscience and misdirection.
The logic goes like this. We know the stars are billions of light years away. No, you don't. But anyway, this is what they say. Therefore, the universe has to be billions of years old for the light to get here. Millions of Christians have been stumped and confused by this star problem. So it makes them lose their faith in God's clear word. They're afraid to share their faith with others, and both of these are Satan's goals. So what's the answer to the starlight problem?
Simple. The Bible is wrong, or you have the wrong interpretation of the Bible. Either way, there is something wrong on Kent's end. Science double, triple, quadruple checks and then keeps checking over and over when new technology is made so we can be more and more accurate. Creationists pat their Bible on the back and tell it that the writers of said book were right 5,000 or so years ago and there's no need to fact check a thing. But I'm sure Kent has a nice and reasonable explanation for the stars to be new and yet billions of light years away, right?
First of all, I will point out quickly, the stars might indeed be billions of light years away. They probably are. We can't measure them, but let's assume that's correct.
We don't have to assume. We actually can measure. That's the point. But now he's just said something really stupid.
Maybe they are 13.8 billion light years. See, a light year is a distance, it's not a time.
Oh my fucking god, he's Captain Obvious. I swear, it's like he thinks he's talking to a bunch of morons. Well, technically he's talking to other young Earth creationists, so...
It's like a Hovind minute. How far can Hovind run in a minute?
We could ask the IRS. Kent was running from them for years.
Stars might be billions of light years away. We have no way of knowing these great distances. You can't measure it with parallax trigonometry or luminosity or color spectrum. It's all guesswork, okay?
I love how he says we can't measure it and then tells how we measure it. Isn't that funny?
We do not know the speed of light has always been the same in all places or all times.
Ah, the great cop-out of the young Earthers, questioning the cosmological constant.
Kinky.
Here's the thing. In today's day and age, we have measured the speed of light as a constant. If he wants to say it's not, all of physics as we know it also breaks down. It also means his God made things different in the past just so the universe appears old, which makes God a deceiver. Good job.
Does the light always go the same speed through all mediums? No, obviously you can bend it going through a prism. Slows light down and bends it. We covered that on video number 7 in much more detail.
The speed of light as measured is the speed light travels in a vacuum. Newsflash, fuckbrain, space is a vacuum. A near perfect vacuum. So what he's trying to do is completely irrelevant because liquid space was only a Star Trek gimmick and couldn't actually exist because gravity would want to pull all that liquid into a sphere. And the deeper into the sphere you go, the more pressure you would have until you have so much liquid that fusion begins and it becomes a definition, a fucking star. Which we could go and then measure the age of.
See, God already gave a clear answer in His Word. How do you see stars billions of light years away if the universe is 6,000 years old? Watch my Creation Seminar Part 7 for a long answer on how they measure the distance to the star. But tonight we're going to talk about one thing about this. What is the red shift?
A clear answer. What a fucking moron. Yes, there is a clear answer, and science has given it to us. Your Bronze Age hunter-gathering Neanderthal dimwits actually knew less than you do, Kent, and you are actually taking their word for it. But I can't wait to hear what you think the red shift is. I have an idea on what you're going to say, but I want you to say it.
When they look at a star and break the light up coming through a spectroscope, the spectrum, they discover lines.
Oh my. Yes, that is how spectroscopy works. I wonder if he's actually going to tell the truth here for a bit.
That are systematically studied and measure the wavelengths of these features. This is back in 1814. He mapped 570 lines designating the principal features with the letters A through K and weaker lines with other letters. Modern observations of sunlight can detect many thousands of lines. The spectrum shows the dark absorption lines seen by Fraunhofer. This is to analyze what chemicals are coming from those stars.
Demon, just say the line. We all know you want to.
Okay, fine.
What? They say insane shit all the time. How was I supposed to know this one was true?
Good job. Now, he goes over the same things we did a bit ago, closer to the start of the video, so we'll skip a bit ahead for your sanity. And mine.
Red shift. The displacement of the spectral lines toward longer wavelengths, interpreted as the Doppler shift, is proportional to the velocity of recession and thus to the distance. Ooh, be careful about putting that together, okay?
Note in there that it doesn't say to the distance, just to distance. In short, the further down into the red spectrum the object is, the faster the object is moving away. In the case of a star, if we see the shift is deep into the red spectrum, we know it is moving away from us very quickly. So, let's say the starlight can be measured to be 1 billion light years away. And the red shift says it's moving away at half a light year per year. Because of the expansion of the universe, we can say that the star is about 1.5 billion light years away. I know my math is wrong, and I'm leaving a lot of the calculations out, but this is mainly to give a very simple example of the red shift and how it works to help us determine the true distance of a star. But Kent is already laying down the foundations for his stupid conclusions.
So the light is seen as shifted toward the red end of the red part of the spectrum. So if it shifted toward the red, they say, it's moving away from us. I would agree.
Holy shit, Kent agrees with that?
Just a little bit.
Okay, Kent. Time out. You've said you agree with the red shifting, that the stars are billions of light years away, and they're moving away from us.
Nailed it.
So far, Kent is absolutely on board with Big Bang cosmology and the expanding universe. That's old universe creation if he's still going to thump his Bible over it. I'm confused.
Hold on.
Wait a second.
He has his own explanation, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh boy. So he goes on about light for a long bit and talks about how some scientists have nearly stopped the movement of light and then let it continue on. Everything he brings up is light through a medium, but the cosmological constant is light in a vacuum. Space is a vacuum. We are talking light in that vacuum.
Now, BioLogos claims to be a Christian organization, but they work very hard to support the idea that the Bible teaches billions of years. Guys, you're wrong.
Or you are wrong. You're questioning another Christian organization. Maybe they know a hell of a lot more than you do. You don't really know much in the first place, but you're taking donations and begging for money by selling overpriced used cars that don't even work and asking for tens of thousands of dollars for 20-year-old scrap metal. I'm not even kidding. One of his recent videos is a rundown of his rundowns, and they look really bad, but like really, really bad. I'm sure he'll con somebody into buying them, but he really just needs to call a junkyard to have them all hauled away. They're in pieces on the ground, I swear to God. Anyway, back to the Christian thing. Kent, just listen to them. Please stop with this absurdity. You would do so much better just being a church instead of trying to prove an agenda. Anyway, shortly after this, he does finally get to his point.
Here's some things to consider. They cannot measure the speed of light beyond about 100 light years.
Yes, we can.
No one knows what light is, and we do not know it always travels the same speed throughout time and space.
Yes, we do know that.
The creation was finished and mature when God made it.
And your evidence is where exactly?
Jesus made wine out of grapes that never existed, aged in time that never was.
And in conclusion, Jesus performed a magic trick. Someone please tell me in the comments how the fuck that follows from the other 3 points he dreamed up.
The speed of light is not proven to be consistent. Why would star distance have anything to do with the age of the universe? Why don't they get it? Redshift only shows nearly all stars are moving away from the Earth. That fits the creation account perfectly.
First of all, yes, the speed of light in a vacuum has been demonstrated to be consistent. Stop lying to your viewers, Kent. And the distance stars are away from each other absolutely talks about the age of the universe, since from the other information we have learned about the universe is that the Big Bang happened when everything was in the same place. So for it to be in different places means it had to move away from other things. And with everything in the far distance all red shifted and not blue shifted means coming towards you, it means the universe is still expanding. So it all takes time for those distant stars and galaxies to get there in the first place. And that's how distance of stars has everything to do with the age of the universe. Now for his second point. Does redshift fit the creation account?
No, I don't think so.
Exactly. There would be no real reason for a god to have an expanding universe billions of light years away for life to only be out here in some unimportant arm of one relatively average galaxy. Creation says God just spoke the stars into existence, nothing more, and they were spread out across the sky. This means they were created everywhere fairly evenly, stars everywhere. He goes on quoting scripture as if it's science, but something he does mention is, kind of funny.
When he opened the sixth seal in Revelation chapter 6, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth.
Tell me, Kenny boy, how is it that any of that makes a lick of logical sense? The earth shakes, causing the sun to go black and the moon to go red. That describes an earthquake causing a solar and lunar eclipse at the same time. But what I want to know is, how do the stars now somehow fall if they are that far away? Keep in mind, Kent is a biblical literalist. He takes everything the Bible says at face value. Like I said before, these are people from the Bronze Age that saw shit, then made shit up that their gods were responsible for. So, how does all this culminate? He quotes a bunch of vaguely random things from the Bible that says God did it, but gives nothing about him actually existing, and finishes with this.
So, the universe is not billions of years old. The Bible dates add up to 6,000 for the creation. Distant starlight does not prove billions of years. Redshift does not prove billions of years. The planets cannot be billions of years old for lots of scientific reasons. The moon cannot be billions of years old. It's moving away from the Earth. It didn't have much dust on it when they got there. The Earth cannot be billions of years old for lots of reasons we cover on video number 1. Life on Earth cannot be billions of years old.
None of that is correct. And over the past few months, we have explained, and science has demonstrated, and at times, Kent himself has demonstrated that everything he just said is him talking out of his ass after trying to yell "checkmate, atheist" while flipping the chessboard and knocking over the tables with his Bible. Look, Kent has supplied us with hours upon hours of good content, but it really does seem like his seminar series has come to an end in place of his live Q&A ego-stroking session. And I know I'm not the only one that has been covering it. There's been several other creators, Simon, Dan, like just to name one. I think I'm the only one that's been doing it every week, but again, with it slowing down, I'll be trying to keep it up, but I might need a new Monday show soon, guys. I'm sorry, but the well is running dry here. So, if you have things you want me to cover, post them in the comments, just as long as it's not Flat Earth. I do want to keep a little of my sanity here, and Angel's already told me she wants nothing to do with Flat Earth. Anyway, for now, I am Corsi, and this is the Fluffy Atheist. Pet those like and subscribe buttons, and remember, a little research goes a long way. Let the Fluffy Atheist team do it for you.